This is John, and here's how I worked Step 10 incorrectly as one of the 12 steps of recovery. Step 10 says continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. The first time I worked the 12 steps, I don't think I worked them correctly because I did not get sober. But to be fair, I was really on my own, left to my own devices, trying to figure out how to work the steps. I read Step 10. I tried to do what it said on the page. I was going to meetings, but at that time, no one else really understood how to work the steps. So I was not able to get sober at that time. When I read the step on paper, again, it said, and this wasn't very helpful, it said continue to take personal inventory. That was part 1. If you heard my earlier recording about Step 4, I didn't take the inventory particularly well because I didn't know how to, the Step 4 inventory. It's not my fault. I was just reading what was on the page and trying to do that. I didn't talk to anybody else who had successfully worked the steps. And therefore, I was not really following what I would call a traditional successful working of the steps. No, I was struggling to come up with my own way to work the steps. So if I decided I was going to keep doing the personal inventory and do it the way I thought I should, it turned out it didn't go very well. So if I did it again in Step 10, not doing it correctly, that would not go very well. The second half of Step 10 said, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. I can read those words exactly as they are written. When we were wrong, promptly admitted it. However, as I often did in my first time through the steps, my reading of it was fairly shallow. I could see the words, I could say the words, and I could look at what the words appeared to say, but I didn't understand the step. I was trying to be sincere, but that doesn't mean I was being successful, doing the right thing, taking the right steps in any kind of a helpful way. At that time, I did not have the courage to promptly admit when I'm wrong. I had failed to take Step 4 deeply. And when I say deeply, all I mean is Step 4 was where I had to develop the ability to look at my defects of character, look at what I did wrong. Was I dishonest? Was I inconsiderate? Was I frightened? Was I selfish? And simply admit it. Not deny it, but admit it. Accept it. Embrace it. Name it. Claim those defects of character. I had not yet learned to do that. I still very reluctantly claimed any of my defects of character. Always quick to try to point out, oh, it wasn't really my fault. Or I don't really feel that guilty. It wasn't that bad, et cetera, et cetera. I was still constantly avoiding the actual facts, the actual truth. Now, I understand when the truth is something that is uncomfortable, you may not want to hear it, but it's important if it's true. So in Step 10, it said, when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. First time through, I could not do that. I could not do that. The second time I worked Step 10, I had listened to people who were long sober, who had worked the steps in great detail over a long period of time, who'd really looked into them, prayed about them, and worked to understand them and how to work them and what they're talking about more than just superficially reading the words on the paper. So the words continue to take personal inventory, meaning I will continue doing what I did in the 4th step inventory and the 5th step and the 6th step and the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th step in doing amends, all based on what I learned from working the original 4th step. Now I'm agreeing from now on, starting today, if something occurs which should be put into the 4th step inventory, I will work the inventory on it the same way I did in step 4. Is it a resentment? Is it a fear? Is it a harm done to others? I will sit down and do that inventory. I will look at who, the institution, principle, or person. I will look at what part of me it affects, financial, social, or romantic. I will look at my defects of character that may have contributed to it. I'll do that right on the spot that day. I will also, if possible, call someone, just like in the 5th step, and I will share the entire inventory with them on the spot so that I have brought it out before myself, another human being, and my Creator, just like I did in step 5. So even in step 10, I'm sharing my defects of character in step 10. And if necessary, I will continue the way I did in step 6. Was I ready to have God remove these defects? 7. Would I humbly ask Him to? 8. Did I harm anybody? 9. If I harm someone, I'm willing to make amends. So step 10 really is an agreement on my part at any moment, any day, in any instant, stop and work steps 1 through 9 on any disturbance that has occurred, either come back to mind or occurred during this day. The second half of the step now becomes a little easier for me to understand. It says, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Now that I was more comfortable seeing where I was wrong, naming it, claiming it, owning it instead of denying it, yes, I could now promptly admit when I was wrong. And it was not hard. I saw the importance now. My sobriety relied upon my willingness and my ability to promptly say I was wrong and to apologize or make amends. So this can happen in the morning, afternoon, night. The experience I gained by working the steps a second time allowed me to look at step 10 and understand what it means to continue taking personal inventory on the spot. And in so doing, I am now able to work steps 1 through 9, and I can do it in 5 minutes, if need be. Now, there's not a time limit, but I'm just saying there have been times something disturbed me and I worked all steps 1 through 9 on it in 5 minutes. The first time I worked the 12 steps, doing it on all my history, it took years. Now I'm doing it in 5 minutes on one disturbance. That's the power of this step to me. Step 10.